Opaque Games. Today we'll be covering Positioning 101. First, some housekeeping items. I will be starting to edit videos with more editing for visual representation, so enjoy the power of editing! Also, I'd like to explain my approach to these type of educational videos. The concepts that I am trying to portray to you are more bite-sized elements of what actually goes on in an FPS game. Do not feel frustrated that I'm overgeneralizing things that you already know. What we're trying to do is we're making a foundation of knowledge that we're building off of in the 101 series, which we will be diving into further in the 201, 301 series, where we take these basic concepts that aren't really actually 100% true, since an FPS game is much more complicated than what I'm talking about, but it gives us a starting point for us to have more advanced discussions. On to the topic of Positioning 101. Time to call our buddy Bob. Let's go place him over in this opening here, and we can start talking about the values of positioning. Positioning in an FPS has 4 values which always need to be thought about at all times when you're playing. The first value of positioning is that it threatens the opponent. You're able to apply damage, use your abilities, you're able to influence the opponent into doing something other than what they plan to do. The second value is control. You want to be able to control the map. If you are unable to see or affect the map in general, your positioning might be poor due to the fact that you're taking yourself out of the game and you're unable to provide any type of value for your team. So in this case, my positioning here is I can see this main corridor, I can see this entryway through this choke, and as well as the split off to this way and this way. So this is a good position. The third value of positioning is information. If you are positioning yourself to threaten the opponent and you control the whole map, but you're not seeing what the opponent is or where they're at, and you're unable to relay information to your teammates, your position could be bettered so that you can actually provide more information to your whole team that can be used against your enemy. The final value of a position is how safe you are. You don't want to be positioning yourself in a risky scenario over and over again, because eventually your luck will dry up. A good position is a safe position. So seek cover, seek locations that have health packs if your game has health packs. If you have a game where you regenerate health, you need to be able to duck into cover. So for instance, in this location, I can use my high ground here to get back and let my health regenerate if there's a person in that corridor or coming across that opening here. But also, if you have a game like a health pack scenario, here you can come around here. This is specific to Overwatch, but there's a health pack back here to grab, otherwise jumping down here. I can grab a health pack here without putting myself in too much danger from somebody coming through this opening here to hurt me. With those 4 values, we're able to break down proper positioning into 3 different phases. The first phase of positioning is engaging, meaning you're utilizing your position to increase your chances of winning a fight. Players must exploit their position to the fullest potential. If you refer to my Cornering 101 video on how to use various cover, that is using your position to exploit the map to help you win the fight. If you're no longer in a position which threatens the enemy, controls the map, provides informational value to yourself and your team, and it doesn't keep you safe anymore, you must find a new position. When you're evaluating a new position, you should think where you need to be in order to increase your 4 core values. However, you may need to sacrifice 1 or more of these values when you choose a new location, but you want to be optimizing those values. So here is an example of engaging. For instance, if a team were to be coming down this main corridor or coming through this building and exiting out this opening where Bob is, you want to use your position and use it to get your 4 values of threatening, control, information, and safety. So for instance, I can shoot Bob. I can see that people are coming down the corridor and say, hey team, I got half the other team coming down here. So on and so forth, and I'm able to get away safely. So this is a good position. When you're engaging the enemy from a position, you should be thinking about what will cause you to leave your initial position. When do you need to go to a new position? In this case, if the team comes through this choke and start moving over to the right side of me and going through the rest of the map, in this case they are trying to cap a point that's behind here, I'm unable to threaten them once they get around this building or once they're on the point. I can try to get some pot shots on them, but they're behind cover. So you should be choosing, okay, when they get through this choke, I need to get to a new position. And that brings us to the next phase, transitioning. Transitioning means that you determined a new position, but you need to move to it. This is one of the hardest parts of positioning, which a lot of people struggle with. Transitioning is not as simple as moving from one spot to the other. There's a time element associated with it. If you leave your current engaged location too soon, you may lose out on the value of your initial position, or you may make it to your new location and you're no longer getting value from which you're trying to achieve at the new position. However, if you're moving too late, you are likely transitioning when it's too dangerous and will die on the way to your new position. To get better at positioning in an FPS game, you need to learn how the game flows and determine the optimal time on when to reposition. So for example here, as we discussed, when the opposing team comes through this choke and they're here, if I were to choose a new position back over here and I jump down, they all are within almost arm's reach of me to shoot me, and I'm going to get killed. Otherwise, I might get a lucky pick and make it over here scot-free, but that is bad transitioning. You want to be able to leave at the right moment. So if I'm up here, either I leave before they make it around this rock so that they're still behind there where Bob is, and I make it over here safely before they get there. However, I could have probably had more value staying up here shooting at them at this safe location. What another choice would be is to let them come through this choke while you're pressuring them from behind, and they have to choose either run through this building, go back the way they came, which you'd probably get a lot of kills, or keep wrapping around to get that angle closed on me. And then once they're there, you can safely transition over to here. So that timing element really throws off whether you're going to live or not. And that is the key to not being out of position. When someone says you are out of position, that means you transitioned at the wrong time. You should be at a position and you are not there, so you are out of position. Other things to think about too are your weapon choices. If you are, for instance, some type of glass cannon in an FPS game, you might want to leave sooner. So for instance, Bob's over there. If I'm a glass cannon, I want to get over here and not take any risk of crossing over this gap. And this might not be a good position either. Maybe I want to be even further back to be able to retreat. So here, I have the rest of the map to retreat to. I want to get here before Bob has a chance to get here and shoot me from crossing this opening. So you need to practice transitioning at the right time to not be out of position if that is your major flaw. The final phase to positioning is your new location. You must immediately be thinking about the next position that you need to take up if the situation presents itself. If the opponent retreats, where will you go? If the opponent pressures you, where will you go? If the opponent moves to your flank, where will you go? When people say that you were in a bad position, this is likely due to your choice on where you decided to transition to. To fix your habit of bad positioning, you need to be determining better new positions that provide your 4 core values. It threatens, it controls, it provides information, and it's safe. I know we went through those 3 phases very quick, so I'm going to provide a couple of examples. So for instance, if I were to have Bob sitting out in the open here and I was playing back here kind of in suboptimal positioning because I can't control much of the map, the question is how do I engage Bob from here? Do I do what most newer players will do, and that is walk forward and start shooting at Bob here because I know Bob's there? Obviously, I'm going to start attacking Bob. Well, from Bob's point of view, he not only can take shots off of you, shots on you from the corner here, but he also has all this safe space here to play around in. So if you're putting pressure on him, he actually is not getting much pressure because he can go anywhere in the map he wants, other than going left. If he chooses to go left, he's trying to open an angle on you and shoot. So how do you do good positioning here? You choose to pick a position that threatens him. So we're going to choose to go over here. We're going to take this high ground. And now we're threatening Bob. In some games you won't have that time. You might need to use an ability to jump up here, but this is good positioning. You should try to be here before Bob even gets to where he is because you anticipated he's going to be there. So now I am threatening Bob. I control the map. There's nowhere Bob can go. If he tries going left to hide again, I can just keep on opening up that angle and shooting at him while I can choose when I want to duck in. Also, I not only can see Bob, I can see the rest of the map, so I can tell my team there's 2 more guys coming from the doorway on the right. There's 3 people coming up the main corridor while I'm still pressuring Bob, so I'm providing that information. And then the last value, safety. I can just back out whenever if he gets a couple of good headshots on me or I have very low health, I can get out of there as fast as I want. He can't get me unless he uses some type of ability to get up to me if that's the type of game you're playing. Our next example, we'll come over to this location here to kind of teach how bad transitioning can really mess up your game. So let's say Bob becomes a sniper, and he's up on this high ground here, and I just retreated and I'm around this corner here, and Bob is up there. Bob's able to snipe at me, I'm able to shoot at him, we're having a nice exchange, but I get told, or I see, the other team is coming up down here and they're going to be in my face any moment. So, how do you have a bad transition here? Well, if you choose to have like a new position, let's say there's a health pack over here, okay, well I'm going to be able to get away from those people in that corner by walking over here. Well, not only did I transition right in front of Bob's face, giving him free shots on me, maybe I'm shooting at him, still he gets free shots, but also his whole team gets to see me transition over here, so now they know where I am and they got a bunch of free shots on me. So I should be transitioning safely to a new location that threatens, controls, provides information, and is safe. So, for instance here, they're coming up to my face, I retreat through here, grab this health pack if I want, I'm safe, they can't chase after me, and now I'm here. I can see that corner, if they wrap around, I'm ready to shoot at them. If they choose to come in this room, I got shots on them there too. So this new location provides those 4 values without any kind of a threat to me whatsoever. So that's good positioning. My final example is more of a general optimization move. So for instance, if the enemy team were to be moving down this corridor, we'll put Bob here. Oh, well, he can be there. But if they're coming down this ramp and there is a lull in fighting, in this case, Overwatch is a 6v6 game, so we know where their 6 are, we know where our 6 are. We're kind of in a lull, we haven't engaged with each other yet. A good position you think would be like here, I can be protected, I can run back through here and be safe. But in actuality, a good position would be putting yourself on the high ground. The reason why the high ground is better is because you didn't need to be wasting your time moving to this location when you could be providing pressure on the enemy. If they're walking up this way and they're going to be some time before they get to you, you can take that time to move up here without losing any value. And if you're shooting at the enemy team and they're moving in and for some reason you have to get down to help your teammate, I'm down there almost instantly. Where before, in order for me to get to the high ground from here, I'd have to either use my ability to jump up there like that, or I'd have to take the time to walk all the way over here, climb this stairs, get up there. And this whole time I have not been able to shoot at the enemy team, therefore taking myself out of the fight for too long, losing the game or losing the match. So be thinking about where you can be at all times and try to go to that location sooner rather than later. This is a Positioning 101 video, so we're not going to go too much more in depth on the advanced movements and why you should be where. We're going to talk about that in Positioning 201 in the future. But I'd like to give you some final key tips on how to get better at positioning. The first thing is experimentation. Stop playing your games the same way every single time. So this map loads up every time I come to this spot and I start shooting at the enemy, and I'm kind of following a script that I made for myself because not only did I feel like that is the correct way to play the game, but maybe I saw someone play this way and they did really well, so I should just emulate that. Every game is different. You should be experimenting. You won't learn how to be better at the game. You won't learn better strategies at the game unless you're experimenting with it. Don't be scared to lose. Don't be scared to make those risky plays. Try to find out what works for you because everyone has their own play style. My next tip is to keep an active mind. If you are playing a game for a very long time and you're trying to grind out getting better at a game, you should be trying to wake yourself up every once in a while, because what happens is you go into an autopilot mode where you're not really asking yourself those questions. If I get pushed now, where do I retreat to? If I get flanked, where should I move to? Where's my health packs? Where am I safe? If I'm not asking myself those questions at all times, I'm not getting better at the game. I'm just playing the game. Now, this is fine because everyone needs to take a break from trying to get better at a game. It's okay to just play a game on autopilot and just have fun. Everyone does that. But if you're looking to get better at a game, you should be putting some time away to practice that thought process and moving through it. My last and final tip kind of piggybacks off of what I just said. Don't be overthinking your decisions. When you start actively thinking about what you're doing while you're playing the game, it's similar to having a conversation with somebody while you're playing the game. You're not going to have a full, in-depth, quality conversation with somebody while you're focusing on this. You just can't do both things at once. If you can, good for you. But most people can't. So you're going to see a dip in your performance when you're trying to go through these exercises. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to develop a kind of a base pattern in your thought processes that will get so ingrained into your mind that you won't never have to think about this stuff, because you're already moving to that new location before you even think about it, because you understand the game, you feel the flow of what needs to happen, and you know through experimentation what is the right choice to make. I hope this video has been really helpful. If you watched my Cornering 101 video and I asked you to get better at using corners, it's time to move on to taking those corners and making it into positional decisions. So I'm excited for you to work on that for a few weeks, and we can move on to my next video in a couple weeks about aiming and getting better at aiming, and how in the heck do these pro players hit such insane shots. And the secret is they practice and they have good positioning. So if you get cornering down, good positioning down, and then watch my aiming 101 video, you're going to be on your way to getting much better at FPS games. Thank you for watching.